Welcome back to another video, my friend. I'm Blake and you're you, and this is mono green Hydras with a splash of blue in Explorer. This deck is quite good as mono green is really good right now. So I basically took all the pieces from a mono green devotion deck, but I didn't have a bunch of copies of Karn and I wanted to create a little unique twist on this deck. And so we are running Hydras at the top end to cap off some amazing ramp. Now let's get into the deck. Let's start at the low end of the curve and work ourselves up to the big plays. So at the 1-drop, we have 8 ways to ramp. We are running a playset of Llanowar Elves and a playset of Gilded Goose. Gilded Goose also, importantly, can tap for the splash of blue, which will come up later. For Adventurous Impulse, really just helps smooth out the draws in the deck. I didn't think it would be that good, but actually I'm quite surprised with how much I like the card in this deck. 1 copy of Tamiyo Safekeeping to give a permanent we control indestructible and hexproof and gain us 2 life. Now we also have even more ramp. We have 2 Paradise Druids, can tap for any color, also is very nice. And then 4 Wolfwillow Havens, quite safe being on lands, not impossible to get rid of, but quite difficult. I'm going to move these over to the top end because we're not ready to talk about those just yet. Continuing up the ramp ladder, 3 Old Growth Trolls. This card is just amazing, especially when you get to put down an elf or a goose and put this thing on turn 2. Then if it does die, it ramps. Just an amazing card in mono green. 2 copies of Kiora, Behemoth, Beckoner. This can do some ramping with its untapped target permanent ability, which pairs very nicely with the Wolfwillow Haven and also is going to draw some cards when our big Hydras come in the late game. 2 copies of Nissa, one of the best planeswalkers in green in my opinion. It's incredibly fun. It's doubling our mana. It's turning our lands into creatures. It is absolutely insane. Now, at the top, here is the package that makes this our Hydra deck. First off, we're starting off with Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider. Just in case you're not familiar, Vorinclex is a 6/6 trample haste. If you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many counters on that instead. And if an opponent would put counters on a permanent or player, they would put half as many of each of those kinds of permanent instead. Now, that pairs super nicely with our 9 Hydras. Here we have 3 Gargos Vicious Watcher, which is 8/7 Vigilance for 6 mana, and Hydra spells cost 4 less to cast. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, ourselves or our opponents casting that, importantly, Gargos gets to fight one other creature. Absolutely awesome, almost impossible to deal with without creating a 2-for-1 in our favor. We also have 3 Voracious Hydra. This is X green green. Trample starts off as an 0/1 and comes in with X +1/+1 counters, and then when it enters, we choose either to fight another creature or double those counters. Gets absolutely insane with Vorinclex, and this has Trample, so it can be a 1-card game winner if you have all of those things out. Also 3 Hydroid Krasis. This is why we are splashing that blue. It has an amazing cast trigger, so it's really hard to slow down, but you get to gain half X life and draw half X cards, round down each time, and then on top of that, it enters with X +1/+1 counters as a flying trample. It is actually insane. This deck really puts in work. I'm in Diamond on the rank ladder now, and you guys will see this deck is no joke. For lands, we are not running any only blue sources. So we have 1 Castle Garenbrig, which can potentially ramp us into Vorinclex early. We have 13 Forest, 2 Lair of the Hydras, 2 Barkchannel Pathways, so it can be green or blue, and 4 Breeding Pool, and that along with our Gilded Goose and the Paradise Druid is just enough blue to hit the Hydroid Krasis quite consistently. That is a total of 22 lands. That is the deck. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to help me out, hit that like button just to help the YouTube algorithm. Now let's get into some games. Taking a look right off the bat, being able to turn 1 Adventurous, turn 2 Wolfwillow Haven, I think is pretty fine. We are obviously looking for something playable to do, but the Adventurous Impulse will help us do that. We'll go ahead and just pick up a Gargos, set up that late game play. Let's see where our opponent Cabby has here for us. Looks like we're going to go up against Mono Red. I think we have a pretty decent matchup here against the Mono Red deck, as long as we can draw something playable. 3 mana this turn, 4 mana next turn. Get up the Paradise Druid. We're pretty close to playing a Gargos. Gargos is really hard for the red decks to get past. Most of the mono red decks are only running burn spells for damage, and Gargos with 7 toughness, really, really tough to get around. So, I am feeling pretty good about all of this. Next turn, we've got Gargos turned on. Paradise Druid, very difficult to deal with that hexproof. I am feeling pretty nice, guys. Let's see what can happen here. Okay, our opponent is thinking about this Paradise Druid, apparently. Big decisions. Love the little butterflies that come out, if you didn't notice just that lovely little minor animation. Quite nice, quite nice. So, we are on Arena. We are playing a very slow aggro red player. They've got the Kumano down. We're just going to take whatever damage they have this turn, because we're not going to get our Paradise Druid, because once we get Gargos out, we're really set up pretty decent. We have our blue source for whenever we do draw that Hydra, which is also potentially going to gain us life. As long as we can draw some permanents here, I'm feeling quite nice. 15 is not a bad life total to be at this stage in the game, and I am feeling pretty decent. Surprised they didn't use that earlier. I guess they maybe wanted to try to bait me into dropping something. Now let's see. Is Nissa better than Gargos at this point? If I put down Nissa, it creates another target and potentially doubles me next turn. It gives me a 3/3 for blocking, but Gargos can no matter what block the Soulscar Mage. I think we just go straight to Gargos here. If they are able to target him with some spells, we get to just destroy all the creatures on their board. And it's just insane. That mono red has no chance against that. Let's keep going. Again, we've got a good amount of ramp. We've got a couple of Hydras in hand. We don't need anything too specific for this deck, so I think this is totally fine to keep. We'll go turn 1 Goose, turn 2 Haven, and then when we drop our third land, that turns on 5 mana on turn 3. That starts to get pretty darn fun, and that gets us real close to a Gargos, or if we needed to, we could drop down a 3/4 Voracious Hydra that could fight something, or double the counters and make it a 6/7 on turn 3. So that, all kinds of things. I guess we just get a lucky win. Let's keep going. Funny things on the arena today, I guess. Okay, once again, not the ideal start to see just straight ramp in hand, but with the Lair of the Hydra, I think that's going to be enough. Hello, Kathy Pokey. We are playing against a mythic player here, so that will be quite fun to see what kind of matchup they have for us. We are going against Control. I'm not too sure how the Control matchup goes here. I would say if they can get under our spells, we're probably in a bad spot, but we'll see what ends up happening here. Probably with them running Consider, it looks like Esper. I'm going to guess that this is greasefang, so I don't know how we do against greasefang. We don't really have a lot of kill spells, so this is probably a pretty tough matchup for our mono green here, especially since it looks like they are off to the races. And this is where it gets pretty awkward because there's no kill spell for us that we're running. Really, we're relying on just brutalizing our opponents, but this one is probably the one we are going to lose. So, we'll see. We can get down a pretty fat Hydroid Krasis, so maybe even if they drop the greasefang here, which I'm going to assume that they're going to do since they put the Parhelion in the yard. Okay, we do get lucky and they have to spend some time hunting. And if we can do that, we might be able to get enough value that we can do some work. Okay, so let's put down the breeding pool. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 life. Getting a 4/4 blocker is probably not quite big enough. Really, a 6/6 blocker would be ideal, but I also feel like we want to draw cards, so we're going to go ahead and go for it. Draw us 2 life. Really try to just race ahead as fast as we can. Basically, I think we're in a race here to beat them to their greasefang at this point. So, we will see what they can do. I don't think the greasefang gets to straight up kill us, and the Voracious Hydra being able to come down and fight the greasefang on turn 2 could actually be pretty nice. Turn 2 of the greasefang being out, I mean. So let's see if we can weasel our way out of this one. I do think this is a hard matchup, though. Okay, they thought seize, so that's not great because they're going to get our 1 Hydra, so that's pretty sad. They could keep safekeeping, but I think they'll just take the Hydra as way smarter. Yeah, of course, thought seize, incredibly good card. Buying them some good time. But this will buy us some time and do quite a lot of good work for us, I do believe. Now, I think it's time to get very aggressive. Nope, undo. I think there's a way to undo that. Undo. Perfect. We are going to get very, very aggressive here. I guess I'll keep the Paradise Druid back, but I will throw them a land if they don't want to take some damage, because I think we are racing. That makes sense. They should take that. Do I make that indestructible? Probably. Let's keep this land and really keep the pressure on here. Excellent. And we will... Our Goose doesn't really do anything for us. We'll just keep it there chilling. And let's see what happens now. Wow, and they give us the game. I think that's a hard matchup, but I think we squeezed by and got a little lucky. Let's see what else we can find on this ladder. Okay, going into another game here. Goose into turn 3 Hydra. Turn 2 Hydra is not like the very worst thing. I would rather draw one more piece of ramp here, but I think this is good enough we can keep. That's going to be pretty awkward because he probably hits our Goose, but maybe we'll get lucky and he'll hit one of the Hydras. I would actually rather have my Goose here. This is a weird case where I don't want him to discard the Goose. But it's a tough choice. I think because there are 3 Hydras and it feels like getting rid of one of them doesn't really matter unless he picks Hydroid, that he actually probably picks Goose here. So good luck triggered making this decision. Gets rid of the Goose as he should. Adventurous Impulse here. Actually going to be pretty sweet. I don't think another Hydra does that much work for us, does it? We're probably going to find other lands, though, so let's just take it. Let's just take it. Pretty awkward situation after getting Thought Seized there. We'll see if the deck can bounce back from that. That's pretty uncomfortable. Rakdos, midrange, or more greasefang? TBD. Thoughtseize. I feel like normally the Mardu Greasefang lists don't run Thoughtseize, so I'm guessing this is just mid-range or one of the sacrifice decks, but we'll find out. We will find out, won't we? Holding up a lot of mana over there. They're considering double Obnixilis, maybe? Yeah, they are. Okay. Mid-range for sure. What do we do here? Next turn is so awkward. Can this fight a Planeswalker? No, it only fights another Hydra. Well, we can't discard cards yet or we'll just lose, I feel like. So let's go Pathway. Is this rounded up or rounded down? Okay, we want to wait till turn 4 to do one of those. So we're going to do an X1. And when it comes in, do I actually fight this stupid devil? Do I go 2-3 trample? Or do I just clear this stupid little devil so that he's not gaining life too? I actually don't know. That's kind of weird. Let's fight the devil, see what happens. That's a weird play, but just gives us just some modicum of blocker. Oh, he gets to do that too. Oops, okay, I should not have fought the devil. My fault. Forgot they got to ping for a damage, but now he has to at least minus one of those obs, I guess. And then next turn we go Hydroid Krasis, draw a card.
Coin or cottage.
I'm gonna let you have that. This is awkward. So awkward. We didn't draw any ramp, which is getting pretty weird and uncomfortable. If we can ramp out up to a big Hydroid Krasis, we might still be okay. I think we actually go tapped, put this down. We're fighting. I think our plan is to fight to try to get Gargos out. If we can get Gargos out next turn and then rip a giant Krasis, I think we can come back. So I think that's got to be the plan right now. 4, 6, 8 damage if we don't discard anything.
Defy me, and you'll lose everything.
Gonna discard 1. I think we discard 1. We'll discard 1 Voracious Hydra.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Oof. Yikes. That is brutal. I don't know if we can come back from all this. So he's gonna get to deal 4 right here. We really need land next turn, or I think we just lose no matter what. If we draw a land next turn, and we get out the Hydra, that's a great blocker. He causes us to take 4, but then we can gain a good amount the next turn. And that's probably going to be the L. We're probably taking the L here, because we just needed that land. It's going to cause me to play the Hydroid early. I think right now we just have to play Hydra, gain a life, draw a card, because I'm pretty sure we just lose no matter what. Pretty sure. Okay. Troll would have been a great blocker, you know? I don't even know what the right play is here. I think we just lose. I don't think there's a way to come back from this, but I'm always a fan of playing it out. Alright, I think I'll give it to him. That was well done. Let's keep going. Alright, I think this is quite keepable. Turn 1 Impulse, turn 2 Wolfwillow. I think that's totally fine. Then we'll get out an Old Growth Troll and then ramp that, hopefully, into a nice fat Voracious Hydra. I think that is a fine game plan to start. Let's see what our opponent has in store for us. It does look like we are on the draw. I don't think this deck cares too much whether it's on the player draw. It's more about as long as we are what our opponent doesn't want, I think is better. You know, you want to be on the play against aggro. Probably want to be on the draw against, probably want to be on the play against control too, but all of that is just fine. This does look like some sort of aggro deck though, so that could get a little weird. We have 3 lands, plus a Wolfwillow gets us to 4. That's getting awfully close to Gargos potential. Let's take the Gargos here. We've got another Impulse to help us find another land later down the line if we so need it. Some sort of aggro artifact deck, probably? Or are they running Karn? Is this like some kind of Karn deck, maybe? Okay, let's go Breeding Pool into Wolfwillow. Next turn, we've got a nice Old Growth Troll. Should be quite decent here. Put down a bunch of pressure as a 4/4 trample. And then if they remove it, we get one step closer to getting out Gargos. Very cool draw there. I think we get to put this in tapped and then put that out. Gargos is a mini combo with Tamiyo Safekeeping because we get to protect it, make it hexproof, indestructible, and make it fight something by targeting it with the Safekeeping. So that's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So next turn we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they kill the Old Growth Troll, that would be even better, and then we have 6. But also them letting us wait wouldn't be terrible. He can just attack with the Ginger Brute though. That's quite fine. You go ahead and do your thing. Yep, sure. Sure. They have a lot of mana that they're piling up here, so that makes me nervous. Makes me a little bit nervous. We have 5 mana available, so we could drop this down as a 3/4, fight one of these. Let's see if he's interested in a double trade here. I doubt he is. But you never know. Maybe we'll get lucky. I would love a double trade here. Turns on Gargos for us. For free. But I'm guessing they're just going to let the damage through. Yep. Makes sense. And in that case, I want to do X3. And I want to fight one of these little guys. Because that's too much ramp. I'm very uncomfortable. You're making me uncomfortable with all your ramp here. Perfect. Now we have a nice blocker as well. Let's see if we can figure out their game plan here. Still don't know what the game plan is. Maybe this is the game plan? Forsaken Monument is the game plan? Yeah, that's the game plan for sure, right? That would just make sense to me, I think. I think we're beefy enough. Let's attack first and see what happens. Very good. And let's just put out Gargos now. I think that's fine. If he wants to let us fight something for free, I think we'll take that. I think we will take him up on that challenge. Lots of trample also feels really good in this deck. Put your opponents in tough blocking situations. Don't think we have any artifact removal in the deck, so that's going to stick around and probably be pretty annoying. But Gargos should put in a good amount of work. Ooh, this might be the thing that beats us down, but he's got to put in a lot of work. And he has to get rid of his own Forsaken Monument to do that. So that's going to be pretty awkward for him. Oh, it's only that with colors. Yeah, that's probably game. And Safekeeping wouldn't have protected us anyway. He's probably going to win. That was pretty crazy. Ugin's too good whenever you lose nothing. One-sided board wipes will kill you even if they are 8 mana. So, I guess we'll see what we draw. I mean, sure. Go ahead. Probably too good for us. I guess we could try to rip a big Krasis next turn. We can block here, take 3. go ahead and Impulse. Krasis. It's probably pretty good, I guess. So we can Krasis for 4, draw 2, gain 2, get a 4/4 flyer in the air. It's not terrible. Not terrible. Ooh, yikes. That's pretty terrible, though.
Do not ignore my draconic talents.
Yep, that will do it. Good game. See what else the ladder has in store for us. Okay, hoping for another good showing of the deck here after 2 pretty brutal beatdowns. I think going Elves into Wolfwillow Haven into Old Growth Troll will give us a pretty solid showing. I also might even this turn just need to go straight to that Old Growth Troll, depending on what they're slapping down here coming at us. Kari Zev is probably worth putting an Old Growth Troll in front of. Well, let's stop and think about this for a moment. This can't block the troll anyway, but it could block that. I think the troll is better than Haven. I think Haven can come down later, because even if they find a way to kill this, then it ramps, and this lets us at least put a blocker in front of this guy. So that's pretty good. Now this makes things exile if they would die, so that gets a little awkward. But I think we're okay. Next turn we'll have 4 mana up. We can follow it up with another Old Growth Troll. I think this card is worded wrong. I don't think this, on the Etching of Kumano side, it should show up as a little ability over here, right? That says if a creature would die this turn, it would be exiled instead. And I think this should say something like, if a creature dealt damage the turn this enters the battlefield by a source you control would die, exile it instead. But it almost reads like a permanent ability, but I'm pretty sure it's just when it flips. So I actually think they've got a little bit of a problem here. Okay, definitely blocking this for sure. Pretty smart. Pretty smart play. Gets in 2 for free. Okay. Perfect. Blue. We could do a 2/3. Fight the Robber. Gives me a double blocker here. That might be kind of nice. I'm kind of liking that plan. Let's go 2/3, fights the Robber. Gives me a double block against Kari Zev, and then just slowly waiting until our moment when we get to get out Gargos. We're at 4 mana right now. If he kills the Old Growth Troll, we'll be at 5 mana next turn. Wolfwillow Haven gets us there even if we miss land. I think we're in a pretty good spot. They are obviously going to be fast, and us being at 17 life with a Krasis in hand makes me think it's going to be really tough for them to beat us here. Really tough. I think we're in a great spot against this aggro deck here. Good luck, Hiriol. Another Robber. They could draw something good off the Robber, but they do have to send it into our face. So that could help us, certainly. Yeah, they're in a really awkward spot now, huh? What gets us what we need the fastest? I think we just slap down another Troll. It's just a great blocker, taking our time, waiting to draw lands. We will send one of them at you. See if you want to give us a kill here. We only need... Yeah, we'll take that, put the pressure on. Just hope we draw a land. I'm actually fine if they kill a Growth Troll too. That will ramp us as well. Getting Gargos out is going to feel super good against this deck. Super, super good. The one thing that could maybe be adjusted is just adding 1 or 2 more spells in the deck, maybe fight spells, that allow you to target Gargos. Maybe you just up the Safekeepings. I don't know. Having a way to turn on Gargos yourself is pretty good, but also puts a lot of pressure on them to do it as well. So we will definitely double block Kari Zev if they send Kari Zev. Ooh. Or am I just taking 2 for free? What'd they flip here? Forest. I think we're just taking 2 free spells right here. 2 free permanents right here. You can have your Kari Zev damage, and then we're going to crack back. We are going to crack back. Okay, tough decision apparently, whether or not they continue with damage or not. Maybe they do have a spell in hand, I guess, is what they have to have. Embercleave. Yeah, that's a decision, huh? Didn't think about that. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Getting rid of that. That's unfortunate. Also an unfortunate draw. That's tough. Tough, tough, tough. I really want to get out Gargos into a Hydroid Krasis. But our draws have been just a little awkward. If he attacks like so, I'm going to double block the robber. For sure. Double block the robber. Let an old growth troll go. If he could send that in, double block here, let me ramp. If I could draw a Safekeeping, I think we could get there. I'm a little nervous now. They've really turned this game back around with the Embercleave play. I was not prepared for that. I didn't mentally consider that, but I think no matter what we do, Embercleave's a really good card, and they would have had a great attack against us no matter what. So sometimes it do be like that. They are really thinking, so they're not, thinking they've exactly for sure won. Okay, this will be big. Whatever they do here. I think they have to send them both, right? Is it do us any good to double block Kari Zev take 6? Probably, because then we don't lose either troll. And then that leaves us a nice block next turn also. I think that's the play. I think we double block. Well, first strike really, yeah, no, that doesn't bother us because it's small enough. If they have a burn spell and they hit one of the trolls, we might still just lose. But I think this is the most profitable block we can come up with. Because then if these stick around, we still get to double block the robber next turn if needed. We're taking 8, so they're a burn spell away. Probably should have... Yeah. And they got us. Yeah, well done. Good job. Good job here, y'all. Well done. Let's keep rolling. Alright, hoping to find one more decent game here. I think turn 1 Impulse into turn 2. Wolfwillow will hopefully be enough, despite having a little bit of a higher ended curve here with the other 2 spells being Krasis and the Watcher. Impulse first. Druid's probably pretty good here. Setting us up with some decent ramp. Going up against a Grixis deck. Not sure what this is going to be. Hate getting Thought Seized, though. That kind of sucks. Luckily, we have 2 ramp spells and 2 two Hydras. So either way, we're pretty decent. Lovely. Unfortunate they know our hand now, but next turn we'll have 4 mana available, so we could drop a 2/2, draw a card, gain a life. That's actually not bad. I don't think that's too terrible. Or we can just slap down a Goose, ramp even more into that Gargos. I still want to get the play of Gargos into Krasis. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting, guys. Being patient. Humble. In my lane. Waiting for the combo. Darn. That is sad. That is sad. Turns off Gargos turn early. Still got it in 2 turns. They're just chilling. That's really sad. Luckily, we can exile the food. So that's nice.
Will resonate throughout the multiverse.
Get rid of the food.
Let your
Ooh, that's fun too.
minds crumble.
We've only got 5. Pretty awkward. Pretty awkward here, guys. Now what do we do? What am I playing next turn? I think we're getting rid of Vorinclex because we need to guarantee Gargos this turn.
You have no weakness
We must
I
guarantee
cannot
it.
exploit.
No! Gosh, I hate this. This is stupid. I hate Nicol Bolas. That was dumb. Dumb. It's really dumb. stupid. Just ridiculous. I guess we'll get rid of that. I'll just quit. This is stupid. Next game. Okay. Turn 1 Elf. Turn 2 Double Impulse. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see what our opponent has. Let's do like so. Now I'm leaning towards turn 2 Wolfwillow. Could be fun. That's a little sad, but I understand. I understand. Got to make that play. It's a smart play. What do you got, Ziptel? Ziptel! Oof, burn to the face. Playing with fire. Play with fire and you might get burned. Okay. I think we just go Wolfwillow here, right? That's the best play. It's pretty good. It's pretty dangerous. Slap this down, put out the Wolfwillow. Next turn we've got 4 mana. Hope we draw something we can use. We could impulse into a troll would be fine. But I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little nervous, guys. There's too many 6-drops in this deck. Makes it really hard to play in the mid game. We need more 4 and 5 drops. Okay. Take 2 more. Show me the troll. Almost has got to be the troll. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Show me the troll. That doesn't help me. I gotta make a play, even if it's a bad one. This just feels awful. Maybe you could get rid of Vorinclex for like a nice 4-drop, like a Questing Beast or something. Yeah, that's just an L. Right? GG. Got a food now, we can gain some life, I guess. It's nifty. Play it out. Make him have a spell. Okay, interesting. Land, 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 land. It's not a land. Funny plays here, guys. Funny, funny plays. Makes sense. They're a burn spell away, guys. Makes sense. The goose doesn't die. We get to ramp next turn. Pretty cool. Might just need to hold on to the life. What do we do? I think we just do this. Hope for the best. Hope we draw Krasis, right? Well, thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I think this deck does have a lot of potential with a few tweaks at the top end, or if you have the rares, you can just play the actual best green list. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day, my friend.